Hello, everybody, and welcome to the White Hatter YouTube News Show. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Darren.
Today in the show, we're talking about some problems with Tesla.
Oh, no. Say it isn't so.
I know. And then we're talking about New York City is looking to add some anti-AI recruiting tool laws.
Ooh, artificial intelligence. That'll be a good topic. Okay.
iOS 15.2 beta looks to add more privacy features for email.
This is a good thing.
And 1 in 10 people have reported using stalkerware.
Important topic.
So we'll
not
talk
just
about,
for adults, right?
We'll talk about all those here on the show. So let's get into the news stories, shall we?
In the news. But before we get going in the news, guess what I was doing this morning?
You were doing a presentation.
I did. We did a presentation this morning to a school in Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo, Ontario.
Hello, all of you who joined us there.
Hello. And we were presenting here in Victoria at 8:30. It was 11 o'clock there. So we were up at like 6 o'clock getting ready for it and stuff. But that's what's cool about the virtual studio. We can present anywhere in the world, right? Which is kind of cool. Good presentation. Got some feedback from the principal saying they just loved it. Just loved it. We're getting messages from the teens as well saying they just loved it. So, but let's talk about some things in the news.
First news topic. Some
this is an interesting
Tesla owners were unable to unlock their cars due to server errors on Tesla side.
Dum. So what happened?
So this definitely kind of paints a picture on how Teslas work. So apparently Tesla servers at their headquarters had some technical issues, and Tesla owners worldwide were unable to unlock or communicate with their cars using the Tesla app during the outage to the company servers.
How long was the outage?
I don't know how long it was for, but it was enough that people on social media were complaining to Tesla and actually adding Elon Musk. Hello, I can't unlock my car. And this is really interesting because
now it wasn't for all their cars, though, right?
No. So
only the cheaper models.
The high end, the more expensive cars have features that allow you to use key pass and a key fob.
Right.
But the entry level Tesla cars the cheaper ones don't have that feature. So
interesting.
Unless you paid an extra $60,000 for the next car up, the car upgrade for the more advanced car, you're basically not connected to your car. You can open the door.
Interesting. So, you know, Tesla's not the only game in town anymore, right? Like, there's other auto dealers now that are going with battery-operated vehicles right now that maybe have that already included as a function at a cheaper price.
This definitely makes me question if Tesla's the way to go for an electric car, because
they were first to market, right? First to market in a commercial way, right? There have been other electric vehicles before them, but they were first to market in a large commercial way.
Yeah, when you think of electric car, you typically think of the Tesla brand.
Yeah, that's,
but you're looking at Ford and other companies.
They're all doing it.
So when you're looking at an electric car, given all the issues Tesla's had over the last year or so, is Tesla really the car you want to go with?
Yeah, good question.
Because if their servers go out, you might be out of luck.
What Tesla does have going for it, it's got usage, right? Like a lot of the new vehicles that are coming to market, they haven't really been tested by the end user, i.e. the driver who purchased these things. So, I mean, Tesla does have a lot of where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, but if your car from Ford comes with a key fob, you can unlock it when their servers go out.
But is there something else that happens in the Ford that maybe doesn't happen? Like, we don't know yet, right? So the other thing, too, is, you know, here in British Columbia, we had that big storm, right, where there were flooding and power outages. And I read on social media there were a ton of people who had Teslas. When the power went out, they had no way to charge their cars.
Yeah, but on the same side, I was on social media, and then when the bridges collapsed and we were isolated from getting gas, how Tesla users were driving around and people were lined up at gas stations.
And they were just driving by.
I know. So which car is more effective in an emergency?
Yeah, it almost comes down to, if I was living in a place where, there are issues with respect to gas and power, maybe choosing a vehicle that's a hybrid, electric with a gas kicker may be the way to go, right? Because the gas kicker can be used when you can't use to charge your car, right? So
solar panels.
Yeah, solar panels. Yeah,
solar panels.
Yeah, we'll see.
Therefore, you don't need gas, and if power goes out, you can charge from the sun.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I've been thinking that the next car we get, because just for local commuting, will be an electric car, like a Volt or a BMW or small BMW, just a simple charging car, right? The pitter around. I mean, my goal. We live in an environment where solar is a good thing here. I'm actually thinking about looking at investing the property that we're on with solar energy, where we move off the electrical grid and we have our own solar energy grid, right? So, I mean, these are all things that, and the prices on them are coming down dramatically, right?
True.
But I've been thinking about an electric car, and I'll be honest, I wasn't thinking about the Tesla. There's other vehicles coming to the market right now that are cheaper and would be just as efficient, in my opinion. We'll wait and see, right?
Well, now you know if Tesla servers go out, you can't open your car.
You know, I think Tesla, if they're smart, they'll kind of go, maybe we should include that in the cheaper models. You would think. But who knows? Who knows?
Anyways.
What else?
Next story is New York City bill bans AI recruiting tools that fail bias checks. Now, I put this in the show because I think this is really interesting, because we've known for many years now how artificial intelligence recruiting or filtering tools are biased.
Yep.
From racial, gender, and other issues.
We've seen police departments that were using AI to identify wanted suspects getting false positives where they were arresting people where the
innocent people.
Where they said they had a warrant and they didn't.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
So this is, I guess, one of the, I mean, we've seen cities ban facial intelligent tools for public use. So, like, cities cannot use that.
Right.
They haven't put bans necessarily. I haven't seen yet cities putting bans on private companies.
Right.
This is like the first kind of major step in this direction. So right now,
I think it's a good step, actually.
I think so too. So right now,
yeah, I do.
they're looking to have this out and ready by 2023. So there's a year from now for that to happen. And what will happen is companies have to be openly transparent if they use AI recruiting tools in the recruiting process.
Because that's what I was going to say to you. How do you know if I used it?
By law, they have to disclose it. Okay. Now, if it's a big company, could they not inform people? Yeah, but you look at the amount of people who work in like HR departments. Someone's probably going to talk. People are going to know. So they have to be they're transparent about these tools, and they have to go over yearly audits where their systems will be put to the test to identify any racial or gender biases and discrimination in the recruiting process. If one's detected, they could reach fines up to $1,500 per incident.
Okay, that's depending upon the company and the amount of money. That could be like big deal. It's like
true, you know, but I mean, you're looking at companies like Walmart and the amount of people who who they employ. How many people apply to their company? I kind
of like this idea because one of the concerns I have with AI is that AI can't read context into what it sees or what it's looking at. Right. That's where humans excel. Right. Because what AI sees may be totally different than the context in which the AI picks up is actually meant to be, that only a human can pick up on.
True, but humans are also biased.
Yeah, they are,
and that's something hard to test for.
Yeah, they are, but I still think the reason I like human doing background checks is a good example is that they can read context into what it is they're seeing and reading. Yeah, there's going to be some bias there as well. I get that, right? So, but still, I think it's the human element in this is, I still think, very important.
Yeah. Human rights advocates are criticizing parts of this law because it doesn't do enough to prevent discrimination on ableism and ageism. So the bill doesn't specifically address those biases.
Right.
So it's a step in the right direction, and I think this is groundwork for potentially this being applied potentially nations-wide.
Yeah, because this is specific to New York State. Not every state in the U.S. and it doesn't apply up here in Canada. But
New York City.
In New York City, sorry. But the principles of it can be applied throughout the world, right? So like you say, it could be a good first step when it comes to issues surrounding this specific topic.
Yeah, because
I agree.
It basically if you're a company using AI intelligent recruiting tools, that now becomes a liability.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think this is I look forward to seeing how this develops over the year.
Yeah, for sure.
Next article. iOS 15.2 beta appears to have a brilliant new iPhone feature that boosts privacy with one click.
I like this idea.
So you added this one, and basically what it's about is we know right now Apple has a feature in their iOS platform. If you're signing up for a newsletter or social media company or some kind of online account, and you don't want to use your actual personal main email, you can, through your Apple iCloud keychain, you can create a spoof email that's a one-time email address that's only used for that one social network company or account you're creating.
You're right.
Well, people who are experimenting with the 15.2 beta have seen a feature which is called Hide My Email.
I like it.
Which is now the same principle being applied into the Mail app directly. So basically, when you get an email from somebody, you can reply via the hide my email, and now when you reply, your personal main email is not in the CC. It's a random email.
Yeah, or if you're going into a store and they require your email in order to get a 25% discount, you could use it. I mean, we use an app right now that you can push on. It creates a spoof email that you can use, right? We have one of those. But I think this is a great addition to the platform. I mean, another platform, which is DuckDuckGo, right? A search engine platform that we love, they're kind of doing the same thing. It's going to be coming out soon for the Android platform through their product, which is DuckDuckGo. I mean, it's encouraging. I mean, encouraging to see how these platforms are now taking privacy more seriously. I mean, privacy advocates.
I mean, the platforms are going against other platforms.
I know,
right?
I know.
Mainly Apple trying to antagonize Facebook and go, we have privacy and it's going to impact your app.
Right. Ding, ding. Apple against Google. Ding, ding. Here we go. Facebook. Right? I mean, in fact, I've been reading, and maybe you can help the viewers understand this. A number of app developers are complaining over the fact that Apple's new privacy things that they put in place is having a direct negative effect on their marketing.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I can speak to this because here in the White Hatter, we have our White Hatter newsletter. We send out.
Subscribe. We don't spam you.
No,
right? We don't spam you.
No, it's not as if we're using newsletter as a form of major marketing, and not like we're keeping track and not openers. But right now, a lot of platforms that are designed to help marketers send out emails to market is they will have metrics on how many people looked at or opened or clicked on a link in the email. Well, Apple now in their mail feature is now having systems in place that prevents a ping back home to the company, to the server, that tells you if they've opened your email or not. So for marketers, if someone has an Apple device, they will not know if an email has been opened.
Now, is this one of the reasons why organized vendors like Meta, Facebook, are trying to create the metaverse, right? Where it's one-stop shopping, because they're hoping that if everybody comes into their Meta platform, then they don't need to go anywhere else.
They don't need to fight with Apple or anyone else. Potentially.
But
then again, you're seeing Meta adding new features that are improving privacy in terms of limiting their ability to track and identify you.
And the question is why are they doing that, right? So it's the reason they're doing it is because of the heat that's on them right now, right? So, politically, publicly, it's kind of very interesting to see how these bigger platforms are now starting to take privacy more seriously. Again, it'll be interesting to watch the development of Meta, which is Facebook, because Facebook has always, collected. And what's interesting is their TOS, their terms of service, and their privacy statement on Meta is the same as Facebook. It's the Facebook. It's the same. They just transferred it over. So the question is what is Meta doing now to make up for the information that they were collecting and monetizing? So how are they doing it, right? And so that's going to be an interesting development to watch how that happens, right?
Yes.
I'm sure privacy hawks around the world are going to be watching closely to see what they're doing, right? The largest player in the world, so as a result of that, they're under the microscope. Right? But you're right, it's interesting to see how they're playing off against one another right now, right?
It's getting harder to be a marketer or a recruiter now, as we've seen. And the last story for the news
This is an important one.
I saw this report being paraphrased and shared on tech news sites and social media over the last week. A report from Kaspersky, an internet safety security company, published a report, Digital Stalking in Relationships, which concluded about nearly 1 in 10 people admitted to using stalkerware, according to a survey. Now, stalkerware is software that is intended to typically track somebody without them knowing. Good case example, couples tracking one another through their phones. Now, they did parse out differences between consensual and non-consensual stalking, where some partners agreed to, I agree for you to track my phone and vice versa. But what they're really looking at is non-consensual stalking.
Right, and this is an important one. I mean, we talk about this in our middle school and high school programs called digital relationship abuse. You know, some of the research here in Canada has now found that about 17.5% of teens in middle schools and high schools across Canada said that they are basically survivors of digital relationship abuse. In the United States, our friends at the Cyberbullying Research Center, Dr. Samir Hinduja and Dr. Justin Patchen, some of the research they found it was 23 to 25% of teens in high schools have said that, where partners or ex-partners are now using technology for the purpose of emotionally, psychologically, physically, and socially controlling one another. So this is a big issue, it really is, and it needs to be something that we're talking more about and bringing to light and shedding a light on this so that we can get our heads around this in order to deal with it. But you know, with the convenience of technology comes issues, right? Vulnerabilities, and a part of that vulnerability is allowing others to use technology for nefarious reasons in relationships for the purposes of tracking or emotionally, psychologically, physically, and socially controlling another partner, right?
Yeah. Some of the data points that I picked out that were very apparent to me were the majority of people who stated that they were subject to stalking and stalkerware. Majority of them reported of having other types of abuse in the relationship, which makes a lot of sense.
It does.
In terms of who's more likely to have this software secretly, covertly, or intentionally installed on their phones.
And our viewers may not know that you've worked quite closely with the BC Society of Transition Homes here in British Columbia on helping them develop policy, procedure, and training to help their clients who are leaving abusive relationships deal with this specific topic.
Yeah, that group of individuals are definitely more likely to be subject to this type of behavior and software. So yeah, there are ways on your phone in order to identify. I mean, obviously, if you have an Apple device, you have a little more control and viewability over what is on your phone. Android phones can be a little more covert in terms of how people can install things on your phone. Typically, if you're really concerned, the best way is doing a wipe. That's kind of like the best, usually last case scenario.
I think the best case scenario that I actually say to individuals that are leaving relationships, toss the phone, get yourself a burner phone, right? I mean, because you just never know. So just get if you have the finances, that's the issue, right?
That is the issue. So for some people, only wiping the phone might be the only financially reasonable option.
Right, but having said that, a lot of transition homes have cell phones that they'll actually give to people that are cleaned, right, and stuff. But you know, if you can't toss the phone and get a new phone, then wipe the phone, right? Do a factory hard reset on it. In most cases, that'll solve the problems. But this is an issue, right? And it has been an issue for several years now, and something that we're definitely shining the light on, both at middle schools and high schools, but also with adults, i.e., working with people like the BC Transition House Society in order to deal with this issue, right? So
they also found that depending on where you are in the world, the attitudes toward this is an okay practice changes. Here in North America, there were definitely people who reported, of the 20,000 people who reported, and the people who are in North America reported this behavior as unethical, not okay, and people who were in more Asian-based countries, their attitudes towards this behavior was a little more positive.
Really?
Yes. I mean, you consider that their government's kind of do this. So it's kind of expected in their lives. They're tracked anyways. So I mean, here in North America, where that's not really a thing, that makes sense.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. So
it is an issue, though.
Definitely worth a read to look at. The link and such to the PDF will be in the notes in the description down below. So take a look at that.
Cool.
And that does it for our news this week.
Yeah, we got to get ready. I got another presentation to do here in about an hour at a high school.
It's a busy week for us.
It is. It's a busy week. I think it's more busy for me. For some reason, I got most of them this week. You got
I think I have one.
I know.
I think I have one. One or two programs.
What's going on here? Usually it's you doing most of them, but for whatever reason, this week I've got a lot of them planned, which is cool because I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it as well. So on behalf of myself, I'm Darren.
And Brandon, thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.